Cheers.
Okay, my name is Ryan Ayliffe. I'm currently the Acting Deputy Chief of Operations. My last name is spelled Ayliffe. So I'm just going to read from a prepared statement and then I'll answer your questions. Early this morning, we had a dynamic situation unfold in the city's northeast. I will share with you what details I can, though I am limited as the Alberta Serious Incident Response Team has been called in to investigate. At approximately 3:50 a.m., a witness called 911 to report that a vehicle appeared to have intentionally hit a pedestrian in the intersection of McKnight Boulevard and 52 Street Northeast. Officers arrived in the area within moments to provide life-saving measures to the victim, who was ultimately transported to the hospital in a life-threatening condition. The condition of the victim, a man in his 40s, has not changed. Within moments of the collision, the suspect vehicle was located a short distance away on 32nd Avenue. Officers contained the suspect vehicle and attempted to arrest the suspect. The driver refused commands to exit the vehicle and a struggle ensued. Tasers were deployed. A Canine Unit member was present at the time of the arrest. The driver was removed from the vehicle and officers transitioned to emergency medical intervention. EMS transported the driver, a male in his late 40s, to hospital where he was declared deceased. At this time, we believe the victim and the driver were known to each other. The nature of that relationship currently forms part of the ensued investigation. As you have heard, this was a dynamic situation that unfolded in two different locations within a matter of minutes. We still have many questions to answer as part of the various ongoing investigations. The CPS traffic section will continue to investigate the pedestrian hit-and-run collision. ACERT maintains conduct of the investigation into the in-custody death of the man. We do not know what caused the death of the driver and that it is likely something that will take weeks or months to confirm. The details about what occurred during the struggle with the officers and the cause of death of the driver will form part of the ACERT investigation, and we are unable to speak to them. I'd just like to make sure I say a couple other things here. So I'll take your questions in a moment. But let me conclude by taking a moment to talk about the nature of policing in Calgary. Calgary remains a very safe city. But we are a big city and we face big city challenges. Our officers are mums and dads, sisters and brothers. They are Calgarians, like you and I. They are on our streets all day and all night doing their best to make sure our city remains a safe place to live, work, and raise a family. They face complex, dynamic situations in which high-stakes decisions must be made in split seconds. We are very grateful for the independent oversight that ACERT brings to these investigations through their thorough investigation and use of supporting technologies such as body-worn cameras. We are committed to transparency. Just as our officers are committed to serving with compassion and fairness to ensure impartial and just treatment to all. They show courage in the face of adversity, and they stand up for what is right. We are proud of the work they do every day to serve the citizens of Calgary. Thank you for letting me say that, and I am good to answer your questions.
What was the state of the suspects when police encountered him? Was he agitated? Did he see you guys coming? What was that initial interaction like?
So that's going to make up part of the ACERT investigation, those initial contacts between police and the suspects, so I'm not going to be able to get into that.
Can you talk about some of the suppression resources used? Like you mentioned a taser. Can you just reiterate that?
So a taser was deployed. At this point, I don't have any other indication of what other methods were used, and the investigation will explore those types of other less lethal or other forms of force.
We saw, when we were out there this morning, saw that some of the windows of the car looked like they were smashed as well. Were batons used at all in this situation, or was that some damage as a result of the earlier incident? Or?
I'm not sure how the damage to the vehicle, windows of the vehicle happened, whether it was there pre-existing or not.
Is it safe to say that this fellow put up quite a bit of a struggle? And can you talk, like, why was it such a struggle?
I just know it was a struggle. So motivation is something that makes up part of the offense being investigated. I do know that our officers did everything they could to not only take this person into custody, but immediately transition to providing life-saving medical attention at the end of that encounter. So it was very dynamic.
In general, can you describe, I guess, what the threshold is when there's a struggle like this? When would something like a taser need to be used? Like, at what point is that an option for officers?
Every situation is different. So this is what makes policing so hard, or any frontline encounter so difficult, is that nothing presents itself the same way twice. In this case, our officers are required to continually evaluate the situations they're in. So I would suggest that, our officers would have evaluated at this point, at some point during that struggle, that it was appropriate to deploy a less lethal option like taser. And whether or not that was successful, the investigation will tell us one way or the other. I don't know. But it is something that, with all our less lethal and lethal force options, and those options include everything on the de-escalation scale as well, as simple as like just asking people how their day is so that we can have a good dialogue with them to de-escalate situations. All those things are continually judged by our officers. So
At any point was a naloxone kit administered?
I'm not sure.
How large was the response, just in general, in terms of squads?
So the immediate response, so we're dealing with two scenes. The immediate hit and run response, there was obviously response to that where information was given to other officers that were patrolling in the area. Those other officers located the suspect vehicle. I know that as a result of this, what happened this morning, we have 6 officers that are being interviewed by ACERT, and it'll be determined whether or not what role they play, whether they're subject officers or witness officers, has yet to be determined by ACERT. 5 officers from our patrol section and 1 officer from our Canine Unit are involved.
Were drugs suspected to be used? Can you talk about whether or not they played a role, drugs or alcohol?
I'd only be speculating, and I don't want to do that. That'll make up part of the investigation with ACERT as well.
And sorry, what was the age of the deceased?
The deceased was in his late 40s.
Was the car, the maroon car that we saw this morning at the scene there, was that involved in anything earlier in the night? Had that vehicle been interacted with police in any other capacity earlier on?
The best that we know right now, no, but that'll be something that's taken into consideration part of the investigation. But the best of our knowledge right now, no.
Were there any witnesses that were on scene that were not part of the investigation?
Yeah, yes, there was an independent witness that I believe is the person that called police to the hit and run. So.
Just because there were two people in the vehicles behind the police tape, we suspect those were probably witnesses to the event.
I'm not sure who those people were or not. My understanding is we responded to the hit and run as a result of a citizen notifying us of it happening.
And there was no one else in the car, just the driver when?
Yes, that's my understanding, yes.
Was the deceased known to police at all?
Yes, he was.
Are you able to elaborate on?
He's just known to us through other interactions.
Do you know how many tasers were fired?
I don't. And again, I don't know, I don't want to sound disrespectful by saying this, but that is going to make up part of the investigation as well. So.
The officers that are being interviewed by ACERT, I'm assuming those obviously were the ones involved with the deceased at that moment. From a Calgary police perspective, what now is offered to them in terms of supports if they so choose to use it? And do you know if any of them are going through that process?
So I'm really glad you asked that question because we want to make sure that our officers understand how much we do want to support them when these things happen, because they put themselves in these very dynamic situations every day. In this case, these officers will be given a 30-day administrative leave, and that is strictly to look after their health and wellness. It allows us to make sure that we avail every resource possible to them and their families so that they feel as though that they're in a good position to resume duties or explore further treatment for their own personal health.
Were there any injuries sustained by the officers in this case?
Not that I'm aware of. Thanks for asking them.
Do you know at all how they intersected the two? It's quite a coincidence that the
car is driving by and then strikes the lead. Is there any correlation there how that individual ended up walking in the pedestrian area to be hit, to be struck?
We believe this is a targeted incident. So, because we believe that this is technically a hit and run, but we believe that because these individuals knew one another, that this was a targeted incident. Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys very much.
Can I talk to you for a minute?
Yes.